YouTube family. Happy crappy hour to you guys. Guess what? My husband is home working, so I am going to be in the kitchen today. I'm going to bring you along with one of my hobbies, which is cooking. So you get to watch me make a few things today, or one thing today. I am trying to figure out, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to get this started. I'm trying to see if I can find you guys. Oh, hey, good to see you guys. Obi-Wan, John, Dangerous Conversations, and Free Spirit. I've got you guys on a computer near me, so hopefully I can watch you as you come on and chat with me. And in the meantime, we're going to be cooking. Yeah, let me see. I gotta get some gloves on. We are making today, I know we're going to talk about escape from Crazytown topics, obviously. Yes, absolutely. But I also want to tell you what I'm making today. It's kind of a combination between something called Sambosa and Empanadas. So Sambosas are, I think, Arabic. I remember having them from somebody who is from, let me see, were they from Liberia? Oh, I can't remember now. But yeah, it's this wonderful, wonderful meat that is made with, well, they might have made it with ground lamb, but I make it with ground beef. And you put a lot of parsley in here and turmeric. And this has been refrigerated, so I'm going to loosen it up a little bit. Yep. So RVZ77, hi, I'm glad you're here with us. I know this is strange. I don't normally do cooking on this show, but since, well, we're kind of working from home, a lot of people are working from home, so we are adjusting. My husband is in my office, so, or in his office, we share it, or he has one side and I have the other side, but it's going to be hard for him to work if I'm talking the whole time. So I'm going to be in the kitchen and you guys get to watch me cook while we chat about today's topic, which is social distancing, right? Oh my gosh. So there's a bright side to social distancing, by the way. And part of it is to help us stay no contact with the narcissist. But during this time right now, the narcissist is going to want to reach out even more. So don't be surprised if you get a message or a call from your ex-narcissist, because they're going stir crazy, right? There's not enough supply for them. So they're going to reach out to old supply now, and far back too. They're going to reach out to lots of people, excuse me, to lots of people, because they need that constant affirmation, constant confirmation, right? So hey, you guys, Dangerous Conversation says it's cool to learn something new while we chat. Yeah. Out the shower, yay, we didn't start. Oh, good. Yeah, you know what? I was just showering too, and that's why I'm running late today. So sorry about that. So I was saying how we're going to make these things that are like empanadas. And I'm using this cheat, which is already made dough, which is great. I got this for 50 cents at the grocery store. Is it one of the small rolls? Let me see. How do I open this? Oh yeah, there we go. Press. Supposed to press here. Okay. Oh wait, here we go. Read the instructions. Might be harder with gloves. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. So how are you guys all doing today? And with the social distancing. Whoop, did you hear that? Big pop. That's the dough popping open. These things are awesome. I remember doing this a long time ago when I was a kid. And I always loved this. My mom never bought these things, but when I'd go to a friend's house, they'd have them. And they're so much fun to pop open. All right, guys. I've got some flour here. I'm going to put some flour on the board and on my rolling pin. So we're going to roll out the dough, and then we're going to fill it with this meat. So let me tell you what's in there. It's ground beef. So if you want to brown some ground beef, and if there's not much oil in there, don't pour out the oil, because I love the fat. The fat's so good for you. Then you have chopped onions. Put the chopped onions in the pan with the ground beef. and I have a ton of parsley, like a whole entire bunch of parsley that comes in the grocery store. Chop it up and throw it all into the pan. What else did I put? Oh, garlic. I put a bunch of garlic in there, like you do a pound of ground beef, which I think this is about a pound. You want to do probably 4 cloves of garlic and half a large onion or a medium onion. Lots of onion. I love onion. So, and I don't know if you guys know this, but red onion has a lot of the, I don't know what the compound is called anymore. It's been a while since I looked it up. But onions, all onions have a compound that fights flus and viruses. So this is really healthy for you. Eat with onions. I cook with onions every day almost. I want to say I probably use an entire onion each day in, 1 or 2 dishes that I make each day. So, maybe this will become a thing with us. Maybe we'll start cooking together. You'll come along with me and learn a few things. All right, you guys. So also, let me see. So I put ground beef, onions, garlic, parsley. But you know what? You can add the parsley a little bit later because you don't want it too wilted. So that's probably one of the last things you want to add to the dish as you're cooking it on the stove. You want to do, let me think. Trying to remember. Sorry. And I dice a tomato because I like tomato in here. You don't have to do tomato if you're suffering from arthritis or anything like that. Tomatoes can cause inflammation in your body. Nightshades can do that, so be careful of that. So, but a small Roma tomato, that's what I add to about a pound of ground beef. Then you also do salt, pepper, and turmeric. This is such a great recipe for turmeric. So I put in about I want to say probably a flat, I don't want to say tablespoon, probably 2 teaspoons, 2 flat teaspoons of turmeric in here. And if you really, really love turmeric, put more, I think it's really good for you. It helps with inflammation and arthritis, stuff like that. Helps with your circulation. So good stuff for you. Let me see, you guys are coming on. Free Spirit, good to see you. Dangerous Conversations. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to scroll to go back. So hopefully I'm catching all you guys. My heart goes out to those not yet escaped during the isolation. Oh my gosh, you're right about that. And that is really horrible because, as the narcissist goes stir crazy, they're going to take it out on the people that's still at home with them. And you're right about that. Hopefully you're in a country or a place or a city that hasn't required you to stay stay inside entirely. Because if you can get outside and go for a walk or anything like that, that would be best. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank you for putting that out. Most of us are lucky that we have escaped. And, those who are on this channel, a lot of you have escaped. I'm glad that you're no longer in danger. And you can see how that's such a blessing to not have to be a part of that anymore. Can you imagine if you were still with the narcissist, what would be happening now in your home? So you guys, I also have this egg wash that I made, which is, oops, I just got some ground beef or parsley in there. But yeah, from my glove. But so if you see it floating around in there, don't be afraid. You want to get the little edges. We're going to pinch this together. There we go. And you guys are going to just watch me do this pretty much the entire time. Okay, and then we're going to fold that over just like an empanada, which is so cool. Look how pretty that's starting to look. I'm going to grab a fork. One of these. And we're just going to pinch it together a bit, which is good. I'm going to shape it a little bit too. Bring it in. So you guys, I baked this the other day. I had put the egg wash on top of it and baked it. So if you're into baking, that'll work. But I would recommend you put a little salt on there or in your egg wash to give it a little bit more flavor. Oh, another thing I do put in here is a bullion. So get your favorite bullion, beef, chicken, pork, whatever you, or vegetarian, I don't know, whatever you enjoy. I use the Knorr kind, and I love that. So I just used a chicken Knorr, and I put that to season the meat, and it comes out delicious. All right, you guys, there's my first one. We're going, so what I'm going to do with these is fry them, because I find that the fried dough is so much more tasty than the baked dough. So we're going to do that. I'm going to put that aside, and we'll go on to the next one. Yeah. Let me see. Obi-Wan says, my happy might be getting rich off my narc and do it no contact. Yes. My crummy is I'll probably catch the virus and die before I can enjoy it. No, but at least I'm free now. Yes. No, you're not going to catch it. I hope you're not. I'm going to say you're not going to catch it. So no, can't determine that obviously, but that's what I wish for you. All you guys, just to stay healthy. And you know what? I've been washing my hands even extra. I'm pretty clean around my house, and even when I have kids come over, I do ask them to wash their hands, because, you know, kids are not the most responsible about that. And it's not mean to ask people to wash their hands. Just don't do it in a weird, critical way. Just ask if they would mind washing their hands. And I did that before all of this came out. Our family is hardly ever sick. It's amazing. I love it, because I think part of it is because I do cook with onions and garlic all the time. Garlic also is very good for you when you have colds and things like that. But on a daily basis, I think it just builds your immunity. So when you cook, don't skip the garlic. Don't skip the onion. I always have onions in my refrigerator. And I love red onions. I got turned on to red onions, I don't know, a few years ago. And I heard that red onions have more of the thing that fights flus and cold viruses. Yeah. And I think there's got to be something about it, because we hardly ever get sick. And my husband, he goes to work, in an office, lots of people, and he goes to conferences and meetings. So people from all over and out of town constantly, and he is hardly ever sick. I don't even remember last time he was sick. I'm trying to remember the last time I was sick. Might have been sometime last year. But, yeah, I think I caught a cough last year, and because it's so dry in the winter time, I ended up with a cough for a little while. But you know what? Also, eating healthy foods helps you get over that stuff much faster. All right, you guys. Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, quit smoking. Oh my gosh, that's a big thing. I really wish for people to be able to quit smoking. I've had relatives who were able to quit, which is amazing. Very proud of them. But I also have a current relative who is still smoking, and I think she is. I think she's tried multiple times to quit, but it's hard. It takes a lot of willpower. So I've always told kids, don't start. Why would you start something that people have a hard time, like almost impossible for them to quit, and suffer so much as they try to quit? It's just not worth starting it. It just really isn't. And don't bend to social pressure or wanting to fit in, or this is what everybody else is doing. Yeah, it's your life. They're not going to be there to help you quit, so why start with them, right? All right, there's another one. Yeah, these are looking nice. So I really love this dough. This is so wonderful. I'm calling it an empanada, even though the mix is for sambosa, because I was going to do sambosa, and the way I normally had done sambosa is I would buy these larger ones, circles, and I would roll it out really long, and then I would cut it down into quarters. And each quarter I would put a little bit of meat and I'd fold it back and forth like a paper football. And it comes out looking like a little triangle, stuffed triangle. And those are sambusa. But when I found these little rolls, I thought, oh, I can just do an empanada stuffed sambusa type of thing. And it would take far less time than it used to. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Hobie says, the only reason you quit is because your narc made it to where you couldn't afford it. You used to like smoking too. Yeah, you know, but it's so bad for you. So bad for you. Well, I never tried smoking. I think as a kid, stupidly, my brother and I, we rolled some paper, and we lit it up, and we tried to smoke that because we were imitating adults, right? I mean, I was little. I was probably, I want to say, gosh, how old was I? Maybe 4 or 5, no, maybe 6. I don't remember. But I remember the taste of smoke burning down my throat. And I thought, nope, that pretty much cured me, I think. You know, I thought, you know, I understand that cigarettes don't do that, and especially with filters or something. But I never had to get addicted to it. I never had to rely on it to relax. Never had to use it to calm myself or whatever, you know. What I've kind of noticed is people who smoke, they tend to be pretty wound up, man. Yeah, because, you know, they're addicted to it. They need it. So be careful. I'm not trying to judge or anything. I'm just saying that, you know, don't do this to yourself because you think it's going to help in the meantime, and it ends up becoming a crutch that you cannot let go of. Yeah. Sorry, guys, going on a bit about that. Ooh, this one has a bit more meat in it. So yeah, so today I was talking about, you know, what it's like for the narcissist, all this social distancing. Social distancing doesn't necessarily mean you can't be in the same room or around other people. You just have to keep some distance, like 6 feet or something like that, right? 2 meters. But to a narcissist, well, a lot of people are taking it further, right? And they're not socializing at all. They're not getting together with other people. They're staying home, all that good stuff. But that's kind of hard for a lot of people. I think just about everybody, really. You can do it for a while, but isolation, we're not built for isolation, okay? People are built for community. So that's normal. It's normal not to want to be isolated. But for a narcissist, it's not just isolation, it's confirmation, it's affirmation. They need constant supply telling them they're wonderful, or that someone feels really bad for them. Remember, they have to be a victim or they have to be a hero. So, you know, nobody's praising them and no one's feeling sorry for them because we're all in this together, right? Their situation is not worse than everybody else's. Although they may try to make you think it is, because they'll probably tell you that they're sick when they're not and try to get some sympathy. They may tell you things are, I don't know, they'll just make up stuff to try to get your sympathy through all of this, because somehow, of course, their experience is always worse than our experience. You know, nobody suffers more than they do, even though we're all going through the same thing. So I'm not saying that we're all exactly alike and we're all going through exactly the same way, but you know what I mean when you hear from them. Yeah. Heather Lynn, good to see you. You're starting from the beginning. Great. So you'll understand what's going on here and why I'm in the kitchen. And you know what? We may make a segment of this where I was considering making a crime and cooking segment, because I do want to talk to you guys about this crime show I've been watching. I think I finished it. I couldn't stop watching it. And I think I may rewatch it because I watched it through so fast. It's called Fatal Affairs, and it's on Netflix. it's about, well, all these affairs, and they dramatize it. It's not a lot of actual footage, but they do show some pictures of the real culprits, you know, real victims. But they generally just do a dramatization, which I think they do a really good job of that. So you can picture what's going on, but it's just incredible to me. As I was watching it, you know, Narcissists came to mind because, as you know, sociopaths and psychopaths are narcissistic, right? They all have narcissism. And narcissists, though, are very much, I don't want to say the same, but similar because they share narcissism, right? They're very self-centered and they don't think about what they're doing to other people. Other people do not matter. Other people do not have as much value, obviously, as the narcissist, right, in their own mind. And the narcissist feels like it's their obligation or their entitlement to take advantage of people because people practically deserve it, right? According to them, people deserve being taken advantage of. If they're willing to let the narcissist in, the narcissist will go in. And so I'm watching this show, and there are these people. It's all walks of life, you guys. That's kind of the scary thing. And that's the same thing with narcissists. They come in all shapes and sizes. They come in all professions. It's not one particular kind of person. And it can come from someone you've known all of your life, or, you know, since you were a teenager. In these cases, some of the couples married, you know, were high school sweethearts. It's like, what the heck? You know, you're a high school sweetheart. And then now you're in your 30s and suddenly you want to kill your partner. Who does that? What? How can you, right? You have children together. You have a life together. A lot of times it's stresses, you know, they talk about financial stress or, I should have put more flour. Talk about financial stress or an affair, obviously. Yeah, they all end up in an affair of some kind. And that's the crazy thing, or cheating with other people. And that's when they just lose it. They, you know, they go out of their minds. And I know not everybody probably, you know, I don't know how scientific this is, but I think that when someone's in an affair, these hormones take over. This fantasy world becomes their reality. And they will do anything to preserve that fantasy world. And that includes getting rid of someone that they have loved since they were a teenager, someone that has been a part of their life since they, you know, were an adolescent and becoming an adult, someone they grew up with, you know, and you're not safe. You're just not. And when you think about narcissists, it's the same way, because you think, oh, well, I've known this person all of my life and I can trust them because of the amount of time I've had with them. Well, things change. Life changes. You know, you might find like the best friend that you had for, oh my gosh, one of these, this is so horrible. One of these stories was about a guy who got shot by his best friend because the best friend was having an affair with the wife. Okay, his wife. So the guy comes home and he catches his wife and his best friend. You know, I guess the guy he worked on an oil or pipeline, right? A gas pipeline. So he was out of town going to where he had to be for work. So during that time, she developed an affair with actually at the time, live-in best friend of her husband. And then but he started getting suspicious. So he came home early one time and catches them, right, in the act, and orders the guy to leave, get out. You know, they're no longer friends. And then turns out, you know, he and the wife were able to work things out, and she promised to end the affair, all that stuff. But in the story, what happens is she starts up the affair again. But also, since this guy was best friends with the wife's lover, just trying to keep this straight so you guys can keep it straight. But I guess he missed his best friend, you know, just like we would when we've had a narcissistic friend we've known for a decade or we grew up with, we would miss them. We're like, well, you know, we did have good times and everybody makes mistakes and, you know, I can forgive. And, you know, we've heard so much about forgiveness, which I totally agree about forgiveness. But just because you forgive doesn't mean you have to trust. All right, people, forgiveness does not mean trust. So if somebody says, oh, you don't forgive me because you don't trust me, that's baloney. That's manipulation. They're trying to manipulate you into trusting something that you should not be trusting. You can forgive people without trusting them. And this guy should have forgiven his friend without trusting him near his wife anymore. Well, they became friends again because he missed his best friend. And the wife and the best friend started up their affair again. So then they started plotting getting rid of him. That's so sad because, you know, this guy was such a good guy. He, you know, doing all the right things, loving his wife, forgiving his best friend, and then the best friend ends up murdering him. So you guys, this, you know, I watch these stories because it just amazes me. It keeps my eyes open. It keeps me sober to the fact that narcissists are more dangerous than we give them credit for. And because of our big heart, because we're normal, because we're humans, you know, we have feelings and we don't give up on people and we do forgive. We just have to be wise about it. Don't underestimate a narcissist. Let me see what you guys are up to here. Oh, a free spirit says, isolation is easy for me now. I have been agoraphobic for 8 years, getting better though. I can go to the store once a week now, but I feel like I'm already trained for this. Yes, right? I'm quite an introvert myself, so this is pretty comfortable for me. Heather Lynn, good to see you, says, I got 3 hoovers last week. A lot of apologies. I said, no, thank you. Yes, right? I'm telling you, right now, you're going to be hearing quite a lot from the narcissists because they're going crazy with all this isolation. They may not be able to go to work and get confirmation there. They may not be able to go to their usual social gatherings, you know, to the bars and pick up on people or pick up new supply. So you're going to get hoovered, you guys. Be warned. Be aware of that. That's why I want to talk about this social isolation and what it's doing to the narcissist, because you very likely are going to hear from them. But if you don't, take that as a blessing, okay? Take that as a blessing that you did not get tempted to get back in contact with them. Let me see. Jihad, good to see you. Okay, Obi says, I laugh. Toilet paper is cheap. I had a toilet paper fetish. What? Of saving it for an emergency. Oh, okay. An emergency came up and my narc would always plan last before realizing we need toilet paper. I'm laughing now. Oh my gosh. Yep. Oh yeah. You know, it's true. Narcissists are not the best planners. Oh my gosh. You're right. So I'm hoping you guys were able to get all the supplies you need though. Let me see. Metal Gear, good to see you. Yes, hope all are healthy and safe. Thank you. Yes, we're all, well, in my household, are doing really well. Everybody's safe and healthy, and we get outside each day for some sun. I really want to encourage you guys to do that because right now they're trying to keep people from going outside or, you know, going to the stores. Yes. Going to restaurants. Yes. But, you know, go if you need to. Just take precautions. The times I've been to the store, I noticed that people, you know, we don't crowd each other anymore. They've actually set up like tape lines at the checkout counter so that people don't stand right behind each other, but leave a few feet. And then I also know some stores are limiting the number of people they allow in the store so that people have are able to keep some distance in the aisles and all that, and we're not all crowded together, which makes sense. But the best, I think, well, one of the best things you can do for yourself is to eat healthy. Start cooking again, you know. Don't be too tempted to buy the already made stuff, okay, you guys? Try to make a few things healthy for yourself. And even if you buy things that are already made, you know what? Saute up some onions and add it to it. So good. Throw it in with the food that you bought from the store. Yep. So here we go. I'm making these. If you guys are coming on right now, it's because my husband has the office. He's working from home today, or at least for part of the day. And so I'm going to be working from the kitchen. Yeah. So, you know, I know of people who suffer from depression, and they are having a very hard time because of the isolation. But some of them, sadly, are taking this farther or further than they have to. They're not even going outside to get sun. And I'm like, why are you not going outside? Or they have pets, they're not walking their pets, you know, their dogs. I'm like, why wouldn't you walk your dog? If you can walk your dog, get outside and walk your dog. You know, people in Spain or, you know, they wish they could walk their dogs, you know, actually they do, but they're not allowed to take the whole family out for a walk anymore. If you're able to take the whole family out, or even meet up with friends and go for a hike, oh my gosh, go do that. Or a neighbor and walk around the neighborhood. Or if you're living with people, go with them, go out on, you know, your group, your family, or your housemates. Yeah, get outside, get some sun. Vitamin D is another thing actually that helps you fight viruses. So all the things that we're doing, you cannot solve with a pill, right? You know, the problems that we're having, we cannot solve with a pill. I think people get too used to there being an easy button, and they want to just be able to pop something quickly and then be done, right? Get immunized and you're done. But even the flu, you guys, the immunization for the flu is, I think, like 40 or 60% effective ever. So everybody that I've known that's gotten the flu shot has gotten the flu. So I'm like, okay, how is this helping? But the main part is that I don't think they're eating well. I don't think they're eating the foods that help them fight the flu. And it starts internally. So I'm hoping you guys will learn that from this, to take a little bit of time and cook well for yourself. Maybe learn a few new recipes, right? And then after all of this, boy, you could be like the healthiest you've ever been. Do a little exercise, of course, every day, which is great. I do a lot of lunges, which I enjoy. It strengthens my legs. I haven't been doing it all the time, especially in the last several months. I kind of got off of it, but I'm going back into it, and I just feel so much stronger. Circulation is going well, and anyway, all that good stuff. Yep. Oh, hold on. Let me do this. So yeah, you know, right now we're most susceptible to a narcissist hoover because they have a lot of time on their hands right now, as they're being isolated, as they're not able to get in and talk to new people or go out to restaurants or bars and strike up, you know, find new supply to keep praising them. There are narcissists that are introverts, and even they need supply. So don't rule that out. Don't rule out that, oh, just because you're a narcissist is antisocial, right? Is not a people person, that they won't reach out to you. They might, when everybody else is busy or distracted with other things, or their families are home all the time now, or and they have to homeschool or whatever it is they're doing, right? And they don't have as much time for the narcissist anymore because they're not in the office with the narcissist anymore. That your ex may be contacting you. Do not be surprised. And like someone was saying earlier, that they were getting hoovered 3 times already with apologies. Oh yeah, this is when they're going to really pour on the apologies about, you know, this has made me think about you and I'm really missing you. They're not missing you. They're missing the supply. They're missing the supply, and they're hoping that old supply will come back into their life. And guess what? But when this is all over, you probably won't hear from them ever again. You're not going to hear from them. Oh my goodness. So how are you guys doing? Are you guys learning how to make these now? I made several. You've made 7. Yeah. So you're catching on how these are made. Simple, right? Totally simple. Just ground some beef. Add some turmeric. Remember, turmeric's good for you. I'm not quite sure why, but they say turmeric with black pepper, I don't know, releases something, the good stuff. So I always use black pepper anyway. So I use the kind that you grind as you use it. I love that. I always get those giant ones from Costco or Sam's Club. Good stuff. And then salt, I always use Himalayan pink sea salt, or whatever it is, Himalayan pink salt, because it has extra minerals in it. So whatever I cook with, I try to add what tastes good, but also has a nutritional benefit. Another thing, oh my gosh, you guys, the other night I made barbecue ribs, and I used this cowboy seasoning, which is awesome. It was a little tiny bit of spice to it. And what you do is you rub it all over your ribs. You cook it however way, you know, in the oven, or I use the, what did I use? Instant Pot. Yeah. And, oh, it came out so pretty. And then you add barbecue sauce to it and you stick it in the oven. The recipe I followed said just put it in the oven for 10 or 15 minutes on 400 degrees. I would suggest you just broil it. Because I had to keep it in for way too long and it dried out again, which was really lame. So Instant Pot did not keep it moist and tender the whole time because it did get dried out at the end. So next time what I'm going to do is just broil it at the end with the barbecue sauce. So then I used the, I poured out the broth that came off of the bone. So now you have bone broth, which is also very good for people, right? And I used that to make ramen last night. So you guys, I think I am going to share a bunch of recipes with you over these next few weeks as I cook, because I've been cooking a lot lately, especially, you know, because I'm not going out as much and staying at home. I like to be productive, so cooking is one of my hobbies. You guys are going to come along and learn some of this stuff with me. So yeah, so I used the bone broth from the ribs. Every time I make ribs, actually, I use the bone broth. I used to boil my ribs with garlic, like a whole garlic, I don't know what you call it, bunch. And I'd cut it right in half and throw that right into the broth as I boil the ribs. And or simmer them, I guess. I simmer them for about 2 hours and it comes off, falling off the bone tender. I put garlic and I put a whole onion in there as well. I just roughly chop, you know, in inch size chunks and throw that in the broth. And what else? Salt, pepper. I think that's about it that I put in the broth while I'm boiling the ribs. You can add rosemary if you want, which is nice. So other dry herbs if you want. Ooh, I gotta put some more flour on there. So, and then I end up using the bone broth to make ramen. So every time I make ribs, the next day we have ramen, which my husband loves. And if you go to the grocery store, you can get fresh ramen noodles. And those are the best because the consistency is beautiful. Man, I'm going to have to bring you along when I'm doing that. See you guys. Oh, my chat is not moving, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe you guys are not chatting right now. Yeah. Yeah. So back to the crime show I was watching. Oh, I got to do this again. It looks like I kind of pushed it in too much. The crime show I was watching, it's so horrendous to me because I cannot even understand how a person has no regard, no conscience about what they're doing to someone they supposedly loved. There are also